Have you ever been banned from a gas station for pumping gas too efficiently? I'm at Shell at 11 p.m. Not because I'm living my best life, but because my ADHD brain forgot I had a car until the low fuel light started having a panic attack, and I realized I had exactly 3 miles of gas left to make it anywhere. I pull up to pump 4 and immediately go into hyperfocus mode, which for me means maximum efficiency. No wasted movements, pure optimization. I've got my credit card ready before I even get out. I know exactly which grade of gas I need. I'm not here to browse energy drinks or contemplate my life choices. I'm here for petroleum and petroleum only. So I swipe my card, select regular unleaded, start pumping, and while it's filling, I clean my windshield with the squeegee because multitasking is my love language. The whole process takes exactly 3 minutes and 47 seconds because I timed it like the productivity-obsessed goblin I am. That's when the gas station attendant comes outside. This guy who looks like he's been working graveyard shifts since MySpace was relevant. Hey, he calls out. You can't do that. Do what? I ask, genuinely confused. Pump gas that fast. What? He points at my car like I just performed some kind of illegal speed run. You've been here less than 4 minutes and you're already done. That's suspicious. Suspicious? I'm standing there holding a gas pump receipt, looking at this man like he just spoke in hieroglyphics. How is efficiency suspicious? Normal people take at least 10 minutes. They go inside, buy snacks, check their phones, scroll social media. You just pumped gas and left. That's not normal behavior. I explain that I have ADHD and when I hyperfocus, I move fast. Plus, I had exact change ready and knew what I wanted. There's nothing suspicious about being prepared. He shakes his head. No, normal people browse. They buy drinks. They use the bathroom. They don't just pump gas and go. You're either military or up to something. Up to something? I'm up to having executive function for once in my life. That's what's happening here. But he's already walking back inside, probably to report me to the gas pump police or whatever. 2 days later, I'm back. Same routine, because my car drinks gas like I drink energy drinks, fast and constantly. I pull up to the same pump, swipe my card, start the process, and here comes our friend the attendant with backup this time. Didn't I tell you about pumping gas too fast? He asks. His manager, a woman who looks like she's been dealing with weird customers since the invention of fossil fuels, approaches. This is the guy I told you about. She examines me like I'm a specimen in a museum. Exhibit A, the speed pumper. Ma'am, I just pump gas efficiently. There's no law against that yet. She pulls out her phone, shows me security footage from my previous visit. Look at this. Timestamp. 11:03 p.m. arrival. 11:06 p.m. departure. 3 minutes total. Most customers spend 12 to 15 minutes minimum. That's either military training or criminal behavior. Criminal behavior? I'm being profiled for having my life together at a gas station. This is a new low, even for 2024. What crime am I supposedly committing? Efficiency in the first degree. Possession of time management skills with intent to distribute. They start listing my red flags like I'm on some petroleum watch list. You don't go inside the store. You don't buy snacks. You don't check your phone while pumping. You clean your windshield like you actually care about vehicle maintenance. These are all highly unusual behaviors for someone your age. Someone my age? I'm 23, not 93. Since when is basic car care suspicious? And why are we gatekeeping how long it takes to buy gasoline? The manager continues. We've never seen anyone pump gas that systematically. It's like you've done this before. Trained for it. Almost. Trained for it. I've been driving for 7 years. I know how gas pumps work. It's not rocket science. It's petroleum science, which is arguably easier, but they're convinced I'm running some kind of elaborate gas station heist that involves pumping exactly the amount of gas I paid for and leaving immediately. That's when another customer approaches, a woman who definitely peaked in high school and has strong opinions about everything. What's going on here? This person, the manager points at me, exhibits suspicious fueling patterns. Suspicious fueling patterns? The woman gasps like I just admitted to treason. What kind of patterns? Too fast, too organized, doesn't waste time browsing our convenience store, probably timing our security rotations, the manager explains. And now I'm apparently a gas station Ocean's 11 mastermind who times security rotations to steal petroleum products through the highly sophisticated method of paying for them. The woman nods knowingly. Definitely casing the joint. Nobody pumps gas that efficiently without ultimate motives. Casing the joint? I'm getting gasoline, not planning a heist. My ultimate motive is having a functioning vehicle that can transport me to my minimum wage job. They ban me, effective immediately, for exhibiting patterns inconsistent with normal customer behavior. I'm officially too efficient for Shell gas station. Apparently there's a maximum productivity threshold for petroleum purchases. I posted about it on TikTok. Got banned from gas station for pumping gas too fast. Went viral, with car enthusiasts making videos about optimal fueling strategies. Now I go to BP, where apparently being good at basic life skills is still legal. But sometimes I drive past that Shell station and pump my fist in the air just to spite their security cameras. Efficiency will not be silenced.
What's the dumbest misunderstanding you had with a neighbor? I live in one of those suburbs where people have nothing better to do than measure each other's grass height with rulers and call HOA meetings over mailbox colors. So one day I do something absolutely revolutionary, something that would make Martha Stewart weep with joy. I plant vegetables in my front yard. I know the horror, specifically I plant tomatoes, peppers, and some herbs because I wanted fresh basil for my sad microwave dinners, and grocery store tomatoes taste like disappointment wrapped in plastic. It was a beautiful Sunday morning, and I thought, hey, why not use this patch of dirt for something useful instead of the decorative rocks that previous owner left, which honestly looked like a graveyard for pebbles. So I dig up a small section plant, my little seedlings, and water them like the suburban farmer I never knew I wanted to be. Then the neighborhood watch springs into action. 20 minutes later, I'm inside making coffee and questioning my life choices when I hear a car door slam, followed by aggressive footsteps marching towards my door like someone's about to serve me divorce papers. I open it, and there's Margaret. Not a Margaret, but the Margaret, the self-appointed neighborhood sheriff, complete with a clipboard, a measuring tape, and the energy of someone who definitely asks to speak to managers for sport. She's got her reading glasses hanging from a chain, her phone already recording me, and a printout of what appears to be HOA bylaws, highlighted in yellow like she's preparing for the Supreme Court. Hi, she says, but in that fake sweet voice that means you're about to get absolutely destroyed. I just wanted to discuss your recent landscaping choices. Margaret, I planted some tomatoes. She shakes her head like I just admitted to arson. Those aren't decorative plants, those are crops. And according to section 4.2 of our community guidelines, residential properties cannot be used for agricultural purposes. Agricultural purposes, Margaret, it's like 6 tomato plants, not a wheat field, but she's already building her case like she's about to prosecute me for vegetable crimes. She goes, we've had multiple complaints about the aesthetic impact on property values and the potential pest attraction. What kind of pests are afraid of? Basil, Margaret, the good kind. She pulls out her phone and shows me photos she's been taking of my garden, like it's evidence in a criminal investigation. Look at this, she says, zooming in on my pepper plant. This is clearly commercial farming disguised as residential gardening. Margaret, I bought these at Home Depot for $12 total. If this is commercial farming, then I'm the worst businessman in history, but she's not listening. She's too busy explaining how my vegetables are somehow going to attract rodents, decrease property values, and probably summon locusts. Like it's the biblical apocalypse, she threatens to call the city inspector, the HOA board, and possibly the National Guard. I close the door thinking this woman has lost her absolute mind, but apparently Margaret doesn't give up easily. 2 days later, I get a certified letter from the HOA demanding I remove all non-decorative plant life from my front yard or face fines starting at $50 per day per plant. $50 per day. Margaret, my tomatoes aren't printing money. They're just trying to photosynthesize in peace. So I do what any reasonable adult would do. I double down, I go to the nursery, buy 10 more vegetable plants, and create a full front yard garden, complete with a hand-painted sign that says Margaret's Nightmare Garden featuring pest-attracting crops that decrease property values. I even add a little scarecrow wearing a name tag that says, "Hi, I'm agricultural purposes." Within hours, Margaret shows up again this time with backup her husband Gary, who looks like he's never seen a vegetable that wasn't deep fried, and two other neighbors who apparently have nothing better to do. "You're making a mockery of our community standards," Margaret announces, like I just planted marijuana instead of cherry tomatoes the next week. 3 more neighbors start vegetable gardens. Margaret hasn't spoken to me since. 10 more vegetable plants and create a full front yard garden complete with a hand-painted sign that says, "Margaret's Nightmare Garden," featuring pest-attracting crops that decrease property values. I even add a little scarecrow wearing a name tag that says, "Hi, I'm agricultural purposes." Within hours, Margaret shows up again this time with backup her husband Gary, who looks like he's never seen a vegetable that wasn't deep fried, and two other neighbors who apparently have nothing better to do. "You're making a mockery of our community standards," Margaret announces, like I just planted marijuana instead of cherry tomatoes the next week. 3 more neighbors start vegetable gardens. Margaret hasn't spoken to me since. 10 more vegetable plants and create a full front yard garden complete with a hand-painted sign that says, "Margaret's Nightmare Garden," featuring pest-attracting crops that decrease property values. I even add a little scarecrow wearing a name tag that says, "Hi, I'm agricultural purposes." Within hours, Margaret shows up again this time with backup her husband Gary, who looks like he's never seen a vegetable that wasn't deep fried, and two other neighbors who apparently have nothing better to do. "You're making a mockery of our community standards," Margaret announces, like I just planted marijuana instead of cherry tomatoes the next week. 3 more neighbors start vegetable gardens. Margaret hasn't spoken to me since. What moment made it clear you weren't the favorite child? I realized it when my parents left me with broken ribs in a car wreck to comfort my sister who had a panic attack. I was 14 and my sister Mia was 11 when we got hit by a drunk driver on our way home from school. The impact sent our car spinning into a ditch. I was in the front passenger seat and took the worst of it. Mia was in the back behind Mom, completely unharmed but screaming hysterically. I was conscious, but blood was pouring from a gash on my forehead. My left arm was bent at a weird angle and every breath felt like knives in my ribs. "Mom," I gasped. "I think my arm is broken." But Mom was already turned around, focused entirely on Mia, who was having a full meltdown. "Shh, baby, it's okay," Mom cooed. "Mommy's here. You're safe." "Mom," I said louder, blood dripping into my eyes. "I need help." Dad was on the phone with 911 but kept glancing back at Mia. "The car accident," he was saying. "My youngest is really shaken up. She needs immediate attention." Not me, the one actually bleeding. My youngest. When the ambulance arrived, the paramedics rushed to me first because I was obviously the injured one, but Mom intercepted them. "Please check my daughter first," she said, pointing to Mia. "She's having severe anxiety." She's not responding. The paramedic looked confused. "Ma'am, this child is bleeding heavily and appears to have multiple fractures." "Mia comes first," Mom insisted. "She's more fragile." They had to split up. One paramedic stayed with Mia to calm her down while the other worked on my actual injuries. Broken arm, 3 cracked ribs, concussion, and 12 stitches. At the hospital, the entire family focus was on Mia's trauma response. "She's so brave," the nurses kept saying. "Poor little thing went through such a scary experience." Nobody mentioned that I went through the same accident with actual physical injuries. "Sophie's always been tough," Dad told the doctor when he asked about my pain level. "She handles things well." That's when I understood. I wasn't the favorite child because I could endure things. Mia was the favorite because she fell apart beautifully, and my parents would always prioritize her emotional needs over my physical ones. The pattern continued for years after the accident. When Mia had nightmares about the crash, they got her a therapist and let her sleep in their bed for months. When I had chronic pain from my improperly healed ribs, they told me to take Tylenol and stop complaining. When Mia refused to get in cars for weeks, they hired a special driver and rearranged their schedules around her fears. When I asked for physical therapy for my arm that didn't heal right, they said insurance wouldn't cover it and I'd adapt. When Mia failed a test because she was too traumatized to focus, they got her exemptions and extra time. When I failed a test because I missed school during recovery, they grounded me for being irresponsible. Mia processes things differently, they'd explain. Sophie bounces back from everything. The breaking point came when I was 17. I'd been dealing with chronic headaches from my concussion for 3 years. Finally convinced them to let me see a specialist. The appointment was scheduled for a Tuesday. Monday night, Mia had a panic attack about starting driver's ed. She was 14 now and terrified of cars because of our accident. "We need to cancel Sophie's appointment," Mom told Dad. "Mia needs us to find her a trauma-informed driving instructor immediately." "What about my headaches?" I asked. "You've had them for years," Dad said. "1 more week won't hurt." Mia's anxiety is urgent. They spent my specialist money on a $200 per hour therapist who specialized in driving phobias. I never got to see the neurologist. My headaches got worse. Senior year, I applied to colleges secretly. When my acceptance letter to my dream school came, I was terrified to tell them, but I needed their signature for financial aid. "We can't afford out-of-state tuition," Mom said immediately. "Mia's going to need therapy through college, and that's expensive." "I got a partial scholarship," I said. "I just need help with the rest." Dad shook his head. "Mia's mental health comes first. She's still recovering from the accident. The accident from 4 years ago, where I was the one who actually got hurt. I worked 2 jobs senior year and took out massive loans, got a full ride to a state school through academic merit alone. Mia got accepted to an expensive private college where she lasted 1 semester before coming home with adjustment anxiety. Last month, Mia called me for the first time in a year. "Sophie, I need you to talk to Mom and Dad," she said. "They want me to get a job, but you know how hard that is for me." "You're 21, I said. "Most people have jobs by now. You don't understand," she cried. "I'm not strong like you. I can't handle pressure the way you can. I handle pressure because I've never had a choice." "That's not fair," she sobbed. "I never asked to be sensitive." 2 days later, Mom called. "Sophie, your sister is really struggling. We think you should move back home and help support her transition to independence." "Support her transition to what?" "Exactly, to adult life. She needs someone who understands her anxiety." "What about my life? My career? My own recovery from the same accident?" There was silence. "That was different," Mom said quietly. "You were always stronger." "I wasn't stronger. I was just ignored." I hung up and haven't answered since. Some people realize they're not the favorite child through small slights. I realized it while bleeding in a car wreck, watching my parents choose my sister's tears over my broken bones.